All right. So I take it no one's going to be recapping.
I would if I was
All right.
there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I know like half of what happened during the session. My brain could not handle the other half.
Which half?
Well, I mean,
The latter half.
Well, that
Well.
falls to Stefan or Raphael. Raphael's muted, even though he was the one in the spotlight.
Raphael
I mean,
he has it.
I
He has
have inspiration. Yeah, from the end of the last session.
It comes down
Yeah,
to
I've got
Stefan.
an inspiration marked on mine, so I wasn't even thinking about doing it.
I don't have an
Alright,
inspiration.
I will spare you for giving me a plus 20 to my health. So before you agree to that, I'll accept those terms and continue on. What happened yesterday is that we explored the town, various things happened, justice was brought to a noble who probably remembers being blinded by a certain someone in the moment, which is not good. And humiliated. Not sure which is worse. And we later found out that we're going to the caverns, so we did some prep. I got some maps and paid people to talk to the hillbillies, so I didn't have to. Raphael was dragged into the temple when we met together and declared a probable chaos spawn of sorts. He was interrogated. He did what Raphael does and avoided any truthful answer, and did his best to lie in a zone of truth. People were upset. Tempers were raised. We presented the case a little bit more logically, but it was not looking good for him. And then his hero from another god, deity, came on in and claimed jurisdiction and proceeded to escort him. Judgment! And escorted him out of the building. At which point it was revealed that they were long-term friends and looked up to each other as ideal heroes. And then everything faded to black.
I think you missed an important part.
Wasn't
I
it
now hold
somebody
Raphael's
threatened
life.
authority to kill him
Raphael.
if he did something wrong?
Yep. That I now hold Raphael's life in my hands.
Yeah, well,
It's gonna
It's
suck
all
for
the
him.
plan. 'Twas all the plan.
Oh,
I
was
admit
it?
Don't make me get your daddy on you, huh?
Mm. I'd like to see you try. Because I can't even get my daddy on me.
I will. Oh, you might want to rephrase.
Nope, I'm sticking with it. It's too late. What was said was said. I will live with it.
Hashtag COVID.
And, well, speaking of needing water.
The other thing that Bones did gloss over about blinding the noble, that was Johnny meeting an old friend as well, an old friend from the World War. And they dished out a little bit of vigilante justice. Well, rather, the NPC did. Alright. But you guys have reunited. Raphael with a thin leash has gone off to the marketplace to do what little shopping he can do. And you've all come back to the Church of Sirkava, and you are ready to, well, get the job to go to the mines. And then head off to the mines. The Iron Ridge mine. But if Raphael wants to say anything to the party, or if you guys want to talk about the whole Inquisition thing, you are free to do that.
Well, at the end of shopping, there was one thing I would like to do before approaching the group, if that's okay, DM.
All right.
Is there like a fountain or anything or any kind of like water around that I could easily access to wash my face?
Yes, in the commercial district there would be a number of fountains. You'd probably might get a look or two if you start cleaning yourself in there. But
No,
chances are,
just wetting.
no, okay.
Just gonna wet my hands, watch, kind of splash it against my face.
All right.
Run my hands through my hair and kind of play a little soft tune on my viola as I come back, and it would be to the tune of Cinnamon. Just kind of that going in the background as I'm coming back.
You see a man look at you with disgust. Do the lower class not have any dignity? Seriously, there's a bathhouse a few blocks down. Go there. Seriously.
You get slapped around, and then you see how you feel. Oh, don't worry, I am gonna pay for it. I start playing the viol right in front of him and start my march back to the troop, trying to kind of psych myself up. But definitely Rafayel would kind of sing a little bit of the tune of Cinnamon on the way back, and especially he ran to the Lord and then he ran to the devil, and a little kind of tear comes out and he goes, Mom, I pray to you and I hope that I figure out who the fuck you are. But I think it's time to start embracing the path I've been given. And now my face is more gray. My hair is no longer slicked back in gold. I'll take out of my disguise kit a little bit of this kind of black disguise ink, and I'll kind of put it under one eyelid, one under the other eyelid, and kind of put another little kind of pinky finger mark, stretching it further. And so there'll be this kind of just a little like black paint around the underlids of my eyes and going a little further. And so Raphael looks different. He's still dressed the same way, but he looks very different as he approaches the group.
I run him through with my sword. kidding.
Understandable. Nope. So go ahead.
I look on guard. There's a certain reach for a pair of tongs that can cause damage, but he does not draw them from their tool satchel.
I guess I have some explaining to do. To be honest, I don't really know where to start. I been using so many other people's voices that I don't even know which one's my own anymore. This is a little bit weird.
Now is not the place nor the time to be spilling secrets. Besides, we knew you were a liar to begin with, so it's not a crazed revelation.
Are we all there just to verify?
Yes.
Okay. I'll say. But with that in mind, do not expect me to call you Raphael any longer.
No. I can you just wait. Just hold on. Before you call me Zaliel. Just wait. Before we go, yes, spilling secrets here, not good. It's not a secret. Not the right hand of Zenova. I'm surprised y'all fell for that type of stuff, to be honest, but thank you. That made me feel very good inside, but I'm just not used to positive reinforcement, okay? You've been using his name when I want to be someone better than who I am. And so, give me a moment before you start calling me anything else. And I will be honest. Raphael's not my name. The only name I do know is probably my own, still not 100%, is Zaliel. But it's also been a name used to mock me endlessly. So, you have to understand, this is hard for me to say.
So say it.
And it's I did say it. That's what I was saying. This is hard for me to say. Yeah. Do you want me to repeat everything I just said, or
He just takes a deep breath and says, "What do you want me to call you besides Rafayel?"
For now, yes, just call me Zaliel. I'll accept it. And on our way to the quarry, when we're on our travels and more private regards, I will be more forthcoming with who I am and what has happened, because I understand it's okay to lie to people you don't know, don't trust, and consider enemies, but with what we've been through the past few days, what we know, what you've seen, Secret, there's something more to what we're doing, and
I'm aware.
I don't think that this is our last adventure going to these mines. I think we have a future together, and I don't think it's right for me to lie to people who could be friends. But you have to
Unfortunately, I
understand.
agree with you.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'd like you to understand. I might sound angry because I am. But I'd also like you to understand I'm angry because I have risked a lot for you today. Not just my connection with the church. I am a seer. I am not some mere deacon. I am a high-ranking official. So if you do anything that reflects on me, even if I killed you as recompense, my reputation would still be ruined within the church. So maybe you can understand why I'm a little stressed about your situation.
And Secret, I understand wholly. I want you to know that if it ever came to that, I would fight with all of my being to make sure that your reputation would stay intact. Some of us are just, I guess, no matter how good we try to be, just always seem to be the bad guys.
This would be so much easier to believe if you hadn't told us that telling us the truth hurts.
Let's start simple. Very simple. I'm not going to pry into your secrets for now. As Pyre said, this is not a good place to speak them. So instead, I will give you ultimatums. My father met you shortly before I did and kind of pushed you in my direction for this quest. While I don't trust you, I trust my father. Even if I've never met him. Grumble, grumble. I expect you to do the job that you were hired for. I'm not, just because of what happened, I'm not going to make you work for free. You will still always be entitled to your share of the rewards when we are rewarded. I am many things. Slave driver, I am not. But my ultimatum to you is that because you have been given this chance, you will not fuck up my father's mission for me. That is the most important thing. Considering the world-changing consequences there could be, that is more important to me than any mark you have. But that does not mean I trust you, and it does not mean that I love you or maybe even like you.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
You are.
Is that you,
Whoa,
Ish?
Ash, you okay?
Ish.
Yeah, you might need to mute, Ish.
Ish?
I just joined in. What's up?
Mute.
Yeah, mute yourself.
Mute?
Yeah, mute yourself,
you're
buddy.
catching some background noise.
You're gonna have to just text me. Like, just text in general chat. You can't talk because there's too much noise in the background.
Or just unmute yourself when you have to talk and then mute yourself again.
Yeah, that too.
But he'll look at Zaliel and say, "Do I make myself clear? The mission comes first, and you're part of that right now, like it or not."
I have no right in your eyes, probably to say what I'm about to say, but I also have a counteroffer. I'm in your care. You can choose to kill me, but you know I'm useful. As long as that usefulness stays true, like you've said right now, and you are no slave driver, I offer you something else. What I offer you is friendship. Because a moment ago, I could tell what you're saying. You understand something inherently, and I'll look over to Pyre, and then I'll look over to Ash, and then I'll look over to Stefan, look over to Zord, and I'll stare probably at Ash when I would say this then, because he's probably the one I've interacted most with so far, besides Pyre, maybe. I think we should be friends. So I offer friendship because I've never had a true friend.
If you want that, earn it. How about this? I'll counter by saying I'll keep an open mind based on your behaviors and your performance.
Like I said, it's not right to lie to friends. So I want to be honest, and I'm honest to friends.
And for now, consider me a friend, but not a good one. Not yet.
Understandable. Understandable. And I'll go ahead and change my name. We'll go by Zaliel right now.
I'm going to look at the others and say, if anybody has your piece to speak about him, you should. Otherwise, we have a job to do, and I have a disguise to go get.
I can disguise you. Now that we're being honest, I totally can do that. I'm pretty good at it.
I'd rather not. I'd rather have a full head of fur.
I already got my
Instead of
disguise
going
kit out.
bald.
I've got like makeup and brushes and all these like little things out. I'm like, I got you, bro.
I'm just going to get a cloak.
Lame. And I start putting them all back like one by one very slowly. Like it took me like 3 seconds to get it out, but it's definitely going to take me a few minutes to get these back in.
So Pyre clears his throat. Stories are sometimes the best way to get a point across. When I'm working with a tool, there are 3 things that I use to judge it by. Is it useful to me? Is it no longer useful to me? And is a hindrance or an active danger to things I care about? It's not a matter of you no longer being useful. It's a matter of you reaching the point where you are actively causing more damage than you have potential to cause good. That's when you should fear for your well-being. Not when you lack use, those are discarded. But when you go against the Maker's hands.
So, if I understand you right, Pyre, if I go against what would be best for everyone, it'd be dangerous for me.
Everyone is a strong word. The group, the gods, those sort of things. You will have to pick sides. You will have to choose who to help and who to allow to suffer. That's the nature of the world. I'm not asking you to make everything fair. All I'm saying is if you fear for your safety, it's not because you are no longer useful. It's because you have changed and made your choice in another direction. There's always a give and take. Except for stupid people. Stupid people just hurt everything.
Agreed. And I must tell you that sometimes I act out of instinct more than I do logic. And when I do, I'll offer the same thing I just offered Secret and the rest of the group directly to you. You need to hear that my friendship is worth it.
Even I have favorite tools.
And that's not the same as friends. You don't use friends. You be with them. You use tools.
But if a friend is useless to you, do you not discard them? Do you not simply go your separate ways? There's always going to be
No.
a take in a relationship.
you. This is not the place nor the time for this, Pyre. Believe me, what you're saying hits me harder than anything you believe, because I am the discarded. I've been discarded so many times when it's not the place nor time. I've been discarded. I know what you mean. And that's why I know you need to lift people up. You don't get to a higher place to look down on others. You get to a higher place to reach down and grab with your strength those hands that are below you and pull them up. For we are guides. At least that's what PM, you can correct me if I'm wrong. This is what I know and have learned from my teaching.
Either you are naive and lying, or he looks a little disappointed when he says or you are an optimist.
I easily fuck it up, so you could call me a pessimist.
Maybe a conversation would be worth having. As you said, later we have pressing things. Does anyone else wish to say their piece?
I can say this much. Zaliel has proven himself in the dungeons, in the sewers, as have the rest of you. As long as we're in the sewers, we're all equals. Titles, godlings be damned. If you can't pull your own weight, then you don't belong. I had my questions in my mind about some of you being able to pull your own weight. You proved yourself in the sewers, as did Zaliel. He didn't screw us over in the sewers. He pulled his weight. I think that's all that matters when we go into a dungeon. If you wish to argue with him and try to reform him outside the dungeon, that's fine. But when we get in there, we are all equals. If you don't believe that, one of us needs to leave the party, because that is my belief.
I like your thinking, old
Equals. I get the spirit of what you're saying. It is not us being equals. It is us being on level ground.
That is the same, is it not?
Equals implies that we have the same skills, the same abilities.
No, it does not. We all bring our own abilities. Nobody looks down on somebody else on the quest, or in the sewers, or in the caves we go to. We all have our own abilities.
It sounds
and we
like
all take care of ourselves and each other. And if anybody can't do that, then they should step up now and leave.
It sounds like the difference in debate of equity versus equality in a situation where functionally you're looking for the same thing.
I mean, if you try to compare yourself to me and look at my skills, no, you're not equal to me. You're inferior. But if I compare myself to your skills, I'm inferior. But we all blend our skills together to succeed.
The difference
And
between
we
a
all make
monkey and a
use of
fish
them.
climbing a tree.
Mm-hmm.
All right, fair enough.
Or a monkey swimming
Alright, staying in
underwater.
mind. This is one of the reasons why I left my father's forge. I do not wish to be under his shadow forever. I wish to assist him, to help him, sure. But to spend every waking moment having every action on my part credited to him means that I've never found success.
And what do you think now? Have you?
We all have our illusions. But maybe I have an inkling to go back to that sewer.
Not yet. Soon. We have a different mission today, and I expect you to have your head in the game.
Secret, it was metaphorical.
Well, we can make it literal if you really want.
He said metaphorical.
Well, Zorg, Ash, you've been quiet.
So how's the laptop situation?
I think he's having issues.
Well, he's unmuted and I'm not hearing anything, so either it's really bad or he's in a quiet room now. Ash, this is your chance to be a lizard. Say something.
Are we going to the cave?
Is that what Zorg
We
says?
are when we get done talking.
Yeah.
Yep.
Asking if you...
Zorg also will say he doesn't trust all of you, but he trusts some of you.
You care to name names, or do you like to keep it quiet so we
We're
all
gonna
try
keep
to
it
earn your
quiet.
favor?
We're gonna keep it quiet.
I like the way you think.
Well, Zorg, I just want to let you know that I trust you to be Zorg. And if you're Zorg, I'll be whatever you need me to.
Don't say that, you might regret it.
Well, I said whatever you need me to, but not like need me to. There's subtlety. Like, I'm trying to be subtle. I'm trying to be nice, okay? Like, I'm trying to be a little honest. Give me a little credit.
I don't know what he's into. You might not like it.
Oh, no. Oh, that's what you... Oh, you were about... see, I'm not used to positive reinforcement. Or, no, not positive reinforcement. This was more like you making fun of... I'm getting used to social interactions. So, just give me some time, guys.
What do you live under a rock?
Let's gather our resources and get this job done with.
Let me get a cloak on the way, and then I'll be good to go. I'll meet you guys there.
Alright.
I want to also get something on the way.
Well, you want to come shopping with me?
Yes, I need to come shopping with you.
All right.
Alright, Stefan,
Zorg
is
and
there
I-
anything you needed before you left the city?
What did you say, Buns?
Stefan, is there anything you needed before you leave the city?
No,
You're
my
good?
Vorpal sword isn't ready yet, even though I ordered it. They insisted that I pay for it.
Well, that's
There's
depressing.
some minor business I'd like
Yeah.
to take care of. Maybe we should split the party and meet up at the edge of town.
Hey,
How about 3?
wouldn't mind that if DM. How would I go about getting the refined mana crystal into either mana potions or something, or is it usable as it is?
It would not be usable as is. You do need to liquefy it. You can. The thing is, Ash is actually getting his perk from the Plague Doctor. You could actually hand that off to Ash, and Ash could brew it. He is now proficient in alchemical tools, so he can actually make the
My
potion
man.
with the guy.
So Ash could brew it.
Yep.
Oh, so if he's gonna go to the play doctor, is there any way that like I could just, if we're splitting the party, is this something that I could tag along for, or would this not be something
You could.
I could tag along for?
You could if you want, though. Well, it depends on.
I wouldn't
whether
say
or
or
not-
do anything big. But yeah, it would be up to Ash, I bet.
Yeah, it would be up to Ash, and if his mic works, then Plague Doctor is probably going to have a one-on-one with him.
Oh, never mind.
Okay.
Okay. If it's one-on-one
But-
stuff like that, then nah. I'm not gonna intrude on someone else's thing.
All right. So, Secret and Zorg, you can buy whatever you want. A simple cloak would be cheap, something like 1 silver piece, or if you want something even more flashy or fancy or higher quality, you can. The highest should be 1 gold piece just for a generic cloak. All right, but I think I know what Pyre wants to do. All right. You have heard the rumors that a metal carriage has arrived in Veer. One one that seems to bear an old noble symbol. The symbol of Runescar. Is that the person you wish to seek out?
I didn't know that in character yet, but I am more than willing to bite. Yes, let's do that.
Yep,
Stefan,
you
you're
likely...
in for a ride.
Well, when you went around shopping, you likely would have heard something about this, because this is a pretty big deal.
Okay.
Alright. So were you going alone, or you said something about Stefan?
So Pyre would go. Stefan, if you want to stick with someone else or go with him, that's up to you. I think everyone else is busy.
Where are you going?
He's meeting an
He's
NPC.
following up on a rumor.
Pyre. Are you asking or
say?
out of character?
No, I was asking in character. What were you going to do?
Okay. Pyre strokes his chin, looking off above the crowd's head. I have an old acquaintance I need to speak to. Blood calls to blood.
Do you need company? As in back-to-back type things?
Well,
Or is it really just an
Something else that-
acquaintance?
if you have something else to do, I don't mind going alone.
Well, I don't really
but
have
as
anything
for
else to
company-
do, but I'm sure we've got a tag along with us.
You were the one who spoke about people should not go alone into the city.
It's good not to. It's just too many temptations. Cities can be dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Almost
Secrets
as
may be
dangerous
shared,
as some
but-
of these dungeons and caves we've been into.
Well, I value my independence. Even I have to admit that there is a sense of community. One cannot master harvesting the ore, smelting the ore, processing the ore, moving the ore, forging the ore, and then using the tools that are made. Stefan, I, if nothing else, would like not necessarily your security, but your opinion. Someone who knows nothing about what's going on. I want to know what you think about body language and first impressions.
We'll follow along. Of course, Monica will probably go with us, but she's
Of
proven
course.
herself to be useful in situations, just as the others have.
And
Possibly
observant.
not a big combatant type, but useful.
I can handle any combat that arises. Monica. I grits his teeth like it hurts to talk to her. Try to keep the observations quiet. Write them down. I don't mind that. Even talk to me about them later. But just as watching a play, unless something is important or required of an audience, one should not raise a voice.
Okay. Are we going to a library or something? Or are we meeting a really important person? Oh, this is exciting.
It's best not to show your excitement, just to be calm. The person may be important to some and not important to others. Just as we are important to each other, but not that important to others sometimes.
Oh, well, in that case, is it okay if I hide behind you, Stefan? It might be
If you need to hide, but you can just sort of stand beside me, and if something happens, I'll step in front of you.
Pyre nods. I consider both of you to be my companions. And if he were to attack you, it would be an act of aggression, of course, but not just against you, but against myself as well. As for who it is, I do not expect there to be aggression, tension, and awkwardness, of course. But I do not know if he is still my grandfather.
You don't know if he's still your grandfather? How does one not know whether they were the... If he was before, how could he not be now?
You've never heard of disowning a child? Surely you know
of
that's
course.
one of the most common ways to discipline someone.
Yes, of course, I understand that, but he would still be your relative, whether he disowns you or not. He might not acknowledge it, but it is a fact. Right,
Blood
Monica?
And name are different. I do not yet know if the two are separated.
Well,
Regardless of our family status, what interests me about him is his reputation. Frankly, it's not supposed to be here in this city. There are few things more interesting than an uninvited guest that you can't afford to throw out. Alright, DM, I'm ready.
Alright. Based on where the rumors would point you, it seems that the carriage has been let into the town, and he's currently in like a big square, that's sometimes used for recreation. It's kind of like a giant plaza. You walk to this big square, and this steel carriage sticks out like a sore thumb. You can see a big symbol on the front, and some people are in awe just several feet away. You can hear hushed whispers off on the side. It seems people are afraid to even approach it. You do notice a man who's just kind of sitting on a bench, who's just kind of been watching that carriage the whole time. Not in awe or anything, just kind of looking at it intently. And you see a couple other people just kind of looking at it intently as well. But it's obvious.
I'll do my best to move through the crowd. I'm direct. I am methodical. My footsteps are purposely heavy so people can hear me behind them. And I will kick them like you kick a pigeon who does not move out of the way in time. Not enough to cause damage, but enough to cause a little bit of distress and shame, should they not part for me.
Whoa, hey man! And you can hear a couple people are too slow. They kind of do get kicked off to the side. You can see that a lot of eyes are on all of you guys. Monica shifts a little bit uncomfortably, and you just hear Coco go, "Rah! Rah!" All eyes are on you guys right now as you make your way through the crowd. They open up a path, and you make it up to the door of the carriage. The carriage looks like it has it does look like it could be a vendor stall that's open on both sides, but both shutters are closed right now, and the big doors that it has on the long sides are currently shut right now. But you do hear talking coming from within.
Alright. So I'll stop a couple arms length away from the carriage, look up to the cab driver, and I'll say, my name is Pyre of Innovation. I would like to request an audience with whoever is in this carriage. Is Runescar occupied?
The carriage driver looks like a warforged with a monocle, a top hat, and you seem to have caught him drinking a cup of tea. And he he listens to you caught him while he was drinking, and he patiently listens to you as he finishes his cup. He puts it down, sets it down, and says, "Ah, Pyre of innovation." Now, okay. Backstory. So you've never left Zakir, right?
This is my first time leaving the borders of Zakir.
Okay. Chancellor Runescar's probably seen you once or twice visiting Zakir itself. Alright, what would Mr. Butler know? Pyre of innovation. He probably would know about demigods. Pyre of innovation. Ah, yes. Son of Zygen. I see. Well, this is quite the occasion. I shall let the master know post-haste. Till then, would you like a cup of tea while I go get him? And he opens up his chest piece. It reveals a big tea set, and he holds a kettle of tea with a small cup. It's like, you want any? Or no?
Pyre simply nods. 3 cups, if you would.
3 cups.
As for timing, we have a little bit, but I am on my way to leave the city for the moment. So, make of that what you will. But it is difficult to say what will happen in the future, whether I will return to this place or not.
Very
or
well.
If you'll be
very
here
well.
when I do.
Very well. The master is a very busy man, and he pours out a couple cups. I hope Cool Mint is fine. That's what I have readily on hand. And he pours out 3 cups, and he puts them on a tray, and he hands it out to all 3 of you.
Alright. I'll take the first one he poured, nod to the others, gesture for them to take it as well. And I'll, before sipping, inquire about temperature for the mortals.
Ah, right. For the mortals, you should wait about 20 seconds or so, and it should cool down enough to be an enjoyable temperature.
Alright. Pyre takes a sip and enjoys it.
Alright. Breaking news. Not changing OGL. Oh,
When
nice.
When we are drinking our tea, Pyre, you'll notice that I have switched my holy symbol back to Zygen now that we're going to see your grandfather.
Oh, I should have prepped you more. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. You're showing support. This will be well.
All right. And with that, Mr. Butler closes up his front chest piece. He gives a bow, and he goes to leave into the carriage. The talking stops. The talking stops. You can hear some more words be exchanged. And in a couple, the words stop. There's about a 5-minute gap where nothing happens. You don't even hear words being exchanged inside. And you hear the door slowly open again. The master is willing to see you. If you could step inside, please.
Alright, I get into the carriage. Is it big enough for me?
Yes, this is a fairly large carriage. And when you open the door, it actually looks like it's a lot bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. It looks like a carriage that is only about Like, it is still wide by carriage standards. It's still something like 20 feet long, around 10 feet wide, and 10 feet tall as well. I believe you're 8 foot tall. But inside, like, it does look like it has a... Inside, it definitely looks like the size of the room is easily about 50 by 50 feet.
Okay, well, I'll take a moment pausing at the entrance and look behind me. No pocket dimensions, please. I'll step into the carriage.
None of them have bags.
The door
of
is
holding
left
today,
open. You can decide if you want to come in or not, Stefan.
Oh, I will help Monica up
Okay.
into the carriage and then step in behind her.
You're like, Monica, you just take a glance at Monica. Monica has stars in her eyes, like she's just dazzled by what she sees. And she takes your hand as you both ascend into the carriage. Sitting near a fireplace is a black dragonborn looking man who's wearing some very fine
That art is
armor.
sick. Sorry, I just wanted to say that art is sick. All right, I'll shut up now.
But yes, this it took several generations. I kept, for some reason, Midjourney struggles at doing proper mouths. So this took about 20 generations, and the other form took probably 30 different generations just to get one that I really liked. But yeah, so this is a black dragonborn. He's got red pupils in his eyes. He looks over all three of you. Stefan, like, you don't even need to glance over at Monica. You can already tell that she's just kind of, she's just kind of trying to hide behind you, and she's looking all over the carriage, trying not to be as disruptive, but still struggling to hold her amusement. Inside this
I'll make
carriage...
sure I've got hold of her arm firmly and pat her on the hand and give her other hand a squeeze as I'm trying to keep her calm.
Okay, like she nods a little bit, but she's dazzled by the room. In this room, you can see all sorts of weapons, items, armors, all sorts of like magical items. Like, they do seem explicitly magical in this room. They even have names under them. Like that Vorpal sword you mentioned, it's just hanging on the wall. They've got, each of these magic weapons have runes inscribed all over them. And you do see magic circles around some of the mounted plates, as well as some of the display cases that have all of these items. It's just an incredibly high concentration of just valuable goods just sitting in this one carriage. Runescar eyes all three of you. And he says, looks at Pyre. If you want to have the first word, you can.
I lower my gaze ever so slightly, and I give a very slight bow.
Monica sees that you bow, and she gives a bow as well.
Vaughn will tilt his head also, so that it's acknowledging.
And after a few moments, he speaks up and he says, "What business does Zygen's scion have with me?"
I remember my last time coming into your cart, and I thought that an update on local events would interest you. And in exchange for that, I wanted to share with you my reasons for being outside of Secure. Zygen is the god of innovation, and while his vision is vast, I do not share it. I grew up with access. I grew up having the tools I wanted, a forge of exquisite quality, and I learned and came to the conclusion that only through necessity is innovation born. Zakir is a place of crafting, of innovation. You need to have outside experience in order to appreciate its offerings. Of all people I know, through rumors, you are the one who have taken the most advantage of this law of nature, of innovation being spread by necessity, of limits creating focus. I have left Secure to learn these things, to experience these things, and while I have limited time, as I did not know you were here, I have opted into agreeing to a contract with Sarkava to do a quest. Now, this is not something I would normally agree to, but he saw fit to speak to me personally. I did not think it'd be wise to put friction, and I thought it was good to encourage trade between two people. I would like to hear an outsider's opinion on this.
Outsiders. Okay. On which thing exactly? Just out of character. On which thing exactly? Specifically, like, working... What is the thing that you want him to criticize out of all the things you've listed?
Alright, so, DM, Pyre did not specify. He put out several hooks, and he's saying which one will be bit.
Okay. Not specify. Alright. So you're sick of living in Zygen's shadow and wish to strike out on your own. And you happen to be acquainted with another god in the process. I wonder if that old arrogant bastard will see this as an act of rebellion.
Whatever he sees it as is not rebellion. I have every intention of returning. It will fall to me, should it happen in my lifetime, that if he should take his own life or be struck down, that someone will need to rule in his stead. I have no aspirations to expedite that process, but the reality is that these things are a possibility that should be prepared for.
And like he
As
does
for
kind of look
rebellion,
you over. He looks a little bit amused without even needing to say anything. You do get the impressions like, all right, is that actually true? Is that what you're telling other people? Like he doesn't buy it that it's prudent. He seems to think that's more of an arrogant thing, but he doesn't verbalize that.
But I do admit that in every person there are two paths of blood. And where I have, as you said, grown tired of one, I'm interested in understanding the other. I'm afraid that in being sheltered, I know very little about you. What I do know is biased. So, and he gestures around, you have accomplished something, and you are currently, to my knowledge, trespassing, but no one has acted against it. That tells me you have skills and talents that they need. That is a position I wish to be in someday.
I see. And he begins mulling it over. So you wish to study under me, under the legendary Runescar and the ways of magical smithing. Is that what you desire?
I wish to understand the world outside of Secure, and I wish to study under many. But in an ideal world, yes, you would be one of, if not the best, people I could tutor under. If you were in my shoes, would you not come with the same prospect? Come and ask the same questions?
He crosses his arms. He does think over the prospects of taking you under his wings. Out of respect of your mother, and the fact that you are your mother's son, I shall agree to tutor you. However, I reserve the right to terminate this relationship at any point, and I also reserve the right to speak ill of your father in any ways that I so see fit.
I have the right to disagree with you on any account, and I will listen to you. However, I refuse your offer. If I am to be tutored by you, it will be by my own merit. This discussion, this meeting, this is the opportunity that you can give out of obligation to my mother. But if you are to have any respect for who she was or who I am, then it will be on my actions and my merits and not on someone else's. If you require proof, if you require tests, if you require time, if you require payment, these can be agreed upon, but I will not accept a free handout based on reminiscing.
Like, your reaction has definitely made him smile quite a bit. I see. So you truly do wish to make yourself into a man. And here I was worried. Here I thought you might be just like your father. An arrogant man whose gifts come naturally, who believes that everything, his genius, wealth, knowledge, everything, it comes naturally to him. But I see you still have a little bit of Arcus in you. And Arcus is the name of the god of the forge, if you don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
You truly are your mother's... Well, you truly are your mother's son. Very well, very well. I do have a simple test. Do you have 30 minutes?
And for the first time upon entering here, I'll look back towards Stefan as if hesitating. And midway through that look, before I meet eye contact with him, I'll look back towards Runescar. I'll nod. 30 minutes is doable. Yes, I can do that.
Very well. I'd like to see exactly what your education taught you and how far along you are in development. Have you ever crafted anything truly magical yourself?
Oh, that has Pyre's goat, DM. Yes, it does. Pyre shakes his head and he says, I have not yet advanced that far. Give me a moment, out of character. Sorry about that. Someone came home, needed to shout at them.
Okay.
Anyways, Pyre will shake his head, although it hurts him. And he says, I have only been able to enhance the work of others. Gestures towards his legs. I made improvements and maintenance on these. And he puts a hand to his chest on the armor. I did not forge this. I have imbued it with magic and I have imbued the shield of the person I'm traveling with so that he can fulfill his role a little bit more easier. I have not figured out how to permanently weave the mana and the pattern into items. However, I do have a hypothesis.
No. Go on.
Magic, while it is around us and it is tangible, it can be focused. In the end, magic is the limitations and the focus that you apply to the world around you and to yourself. In short, magic is what you believe it to be, not just your consciousness, but your subconsciousness. That is why I left before I mastered the art of crafting magical items, because I wanted to discover and create recipes that were not solely based upon one land. And while I see many great works around here, I do not wish to copy them because, while I have much to learn from their patterns, I would seek a weave on my own so that I can pay the path. I recognize the paths that have been made before me. I understand the difficulty I'm setting for myself. But if I am to ever become truly independent, I must stand alongside those who have come before.
High hopes and high
If I may
ambitions.
speak for your grandson.
Very well. You may. And I'm sorry. We haven't been acquainted.
My name is
My name is-
Stefan.
Yeah, you introduce. Monica quickly introduced. I'm Monica. And I am Clint Runescar.
Yes. Your
What is it?
grandson has been adventuring with us for some time. Not a long time so far. It's beginning. And he's proven himself adept at things. He can hold his own. I, as you, had doubts that a godling would be able to. But he has proven himself to be more than just a godling. He's proven himself to be a capable beginning adventurer. And I just thought you should know that he is trying already to be his own person. That's all I have to say. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
We shall... In 30 minutes, you'll have an opportunity to prove what skills you have, as well as how quickly you can learn. I am a very strict teacher. I do not baby or coddle my students. And I do expect you to keep up with the teachings. But that is only
stand up.
if I accept.
I stand
Yeah.
up, I put my pack behind me, and I am simply at attention.
Okay. Runescar gets up. He grabs a walking stick that's right next to his seat, and he slams the ground with it. And at the sides of the rooms there were two long windows that essentially paralleled the windows of the actual carriage, and they just flip open. You can hear even louder murmurs from the peanut gallery outside. All the people just kind of openly whispering. It's like, "Oh my gosh, is that a sword? Look at that! I thought that was only a myth, but it's actually real. Oh, I wonder if he has business for the House of Steel. Maybe they want to buy his items. And you just hear all sorts of rumors just getting tossed around outside. And right as it looks like Runescar is about to speak, you hear some quick running outside. And do any of you pay that quick running any mind, or are you going to focus solely on Runescar?
I am focused on Runescar, unfortunately.
Okay.
I probably will be listening to anything that's going on, and I probably would hear them running. If it's loud enough, I'll make a perception.
Okay. I mean, you can very clearly, if you just turn your head to the direction of the running, you see a guy jump in through the window, and he grabs a sword that's on display. Runescar seems completely unalarmed by this. And he just looks at Pyre and he says, For the first test, we shall be doing some basic crafting. Common magic items are not too hard to craft. And as he says that, like, the guy yanks the sword out, and he goes to jump out of the carriage. Stefan, do you want to do anything?
Yeah.
And just to also outline, there are runes on the mount and runes on the sword.
Yeah, I do something. I say, I wouldn't do that if I were you. It could be very dangerous to you.
How old
prepare
is... Oh, go on.
I prepare a cantrip to use in case what I'm expecting does not happen.
You hear Runescar just kind of clear his throat when he sees that you're about to cast a spell. Please don't interrupt. And he continues. Do you continue trying to prep the spell after he politely asks you to stop, or do you just?
No, I stop.
Okay.
I drop it, and I look to Monica and I say, "You're taking notes, right, dear?"
Oh yes. I always wanted to see what those runes can do. And the guy, he gives Stefan a middle finger. How old do you look, Stefan? Are you young adult, or are you actually old?
Let me check. I'm not sure where I'm at as a...
androgynous. You can't tell his age. He could be 12. He could be 92.
Oh, I look like I'm a young adult.
Yeah, he gives you a middle finger and says,
I'm not a long gray tooth.
Yeah. He gives you the middle finger. He says, "Fuck you." And he jumps out.
Is that the number of legitimate parents you have, or your IQ?
Yeah. And as you say that, he jumps out and he immediately just bursts into flames. And he throws the sword off to the side, and he's still on fire. You can see the runes on the mount just kind of burn away, and the sword is just glowing a bright red color.
I stick my head to the window and say, "Told you so, dumbass," and step back.
And right after this, Runescar says, "We're going to craft Armor of Gleaming. Now, if you excuse me, I have a little bit of business to attend to." And the thief is just kind of screaming and rolling around on the ground outside, and Runescar is very unalarmed and calm. Yeah, unconcerned. And he's just kind of casually walking over to the window. He kind of pops his head out, and he says, "All right, Now, have you learned your lesson? Yes, I've learned my lesson! Alright, and would you like me to end the immolation spell that's currently on you? Yes, please have it stop! I'm sorry, but you're speaking a little bit too quickly. If you could say it just a little bit, if you could just slow down so I could hear you clearly, that would be better. My ears aren't working quite well. Please, put that out the fire! Oh, that was a lot of stutters. You're going to have to say it again. Speak it slowly and precisely, like this. Alright? Please, put out the fire! There. Now is that so hard? And he snaps his finger, and the fires go out. The thief looks at the sword, and there's a little shelf that he can lean over, and Runescar just kind of puts his left arm on the shelf, holds up his chin, and he just kind of gazes just a little bit, like he's just looking at the thief. The thief looks at the sword, looks at Runescar, looks at the sword again, and I'm actually gonna make a roll to see which decision he makes.
Oh my goodness, he's gonna have so many penalties. Oh, this hurts me spiritually.
And the guy, he sees that he's completely charred up, and he just runs. He runs and disappears into the crowd. Oh. And here I was hoping that he'd try to grab it again. Oh well. And he gives a whistle, and the sword flies back up and goes right back to its mount. And you can see the runes appear back on the mount again.
Partially learned his lesson. If he really learned it, he would have picked it up and brought it back and put it back himself.
It's no worries. If he even thought about touching it again, he would have burst into flames again, and we'd have to go through the whole song and dance.
Oh, well.
But enough about some petty thieves. He looks over at Pyre again. Back to business. We are going to... Okay, so first off,
Armor of Gleaming.
Is the armor you're currently wearing, is that... Would you consider that Zygen's armor? Like, is that part of your prosthetics, or is that a different type of armor?
Different armor. So my prosthetics I would consider separate from my armor.
Okay.
Just because it'd be silly to take off my chainmail and then like, oh, there goes my
yeah.
my prosthetics.
Okay. We shall craft some Armor of Gleaming. It won't take too long, especially with my aid and guidance. And he walks over to a wardrobe. He opens it up, and you can just inside the wardrobe, you just see rows upon rows. Like, it opens up to a large corridor, and you just see rows, shelves of what appear to be, like, all sorts of components to craft items, be it alchemical or smithing. And he just picks some items from the closest shelf. And he grabs a hammer. He walks over to the door leading outside of the carriage. He says, My study is not a good place to... My study does not double as a forge. But do not worry. Arcus has taught me a few tricks when he taught me how to smith. This way.
Alright, Pyre goes. Here's the command, he goes. He does make mental note of every ingredient that was pulled out, no matter how small it was. If there's any he doesn't recognize, he memorizes the shape, the type, the general heft.
Okay, there's a lot. You basically have like a quick glance, but yeah, there are all sorts of unusual stuff in there.
Oh yeah, not the entire thing.
Yep.
Specifically the ingredients he pulled out to use in this project.
Yep, and some of those items.
The other thing I want to say, of course,
Okay.
as we're going to the next area, would there be a period of time to talk?
If you want, well, he's basically just going to go right outside the carriage, so it's not that much time to talk.
Okay, so yeah, that's probably enough. As I step outside the carriage, as Pyre steps outside the carriage, he will simply clear his throat and he'll say, I don't understand. Why did you spare his life? There's witnesses, so there was no need to send a message back. There was plenty of people to do that for you. Where was the gain?
No, it's simple. I need more fools like him to keep me entertained. I enjoy watching the stupidity of mankind. It's far, far better than whatever dramas they can think of in a play.
So if a mouse thinks it can get away from stealing the bait from the trap, you'll attract more mice. Interesting.
Indeed. This is a game, and I have not had any successful burglar as of yet.
Of course not.
Though I hear that Vir is full of thieves, so by all means they are welcome to try. And he kind of like scans the crowd, like he gives a look to the entirety of the crowd. And they clear, like, they back up even more. They clear out. At the very least, the people of Vir seem to, well, know their place. He firmly wields the hammer that he brought out, and he takes an item out of his pocket. It looks like a small bar of iron, and it has the hammer of Arcus on it. And he puts it on the ground, and he hits it once with the hammer. The ground shakes as you see something begin popping up out of the ground. And he hits it again, and a structure begins starting to emerge from the ground. With every firm smash on this piece of iron, a dome-shaped building begins to appear around you guys. It just slowly erupting out of the ground. And when he's finished, you can see a large forge right in the center. It's essentially a complete blacksmithing forge. You can see the actual furnace, you can see an anvil, you can see several troughs of water, as well as a few minerals here and there. There do seem to be a couple windows to look outside, though you do take note that there doesn't appear to be a door. He turns around to you, and he says, If Zygen knew what I was doing, he'd likely blow a fuse. This is magic that belongs to Arcus. What was your question?
If you're worried about what he thinks, why do you keep saying his name?
I suppose you would say that we have a score to settle. Sorry if I'm
Small
being
nod.
too repetitious. It's just, when his scion is in my presence, the thoughts will, well, it's hard to dissociate them. However, I will keep that under wraps if I accept you. But you still have yet to prove yourself. Armor of Gleaming is a very simple task. You do realize what Armor of Gleaming can do, correct?
He will scratch his chin for a moment as he formulates a more complicated response than the player can give. I'd be fine making a roll for this, DM, but I do have a guess at it. My assumption is that Armor of Gleaming is one of two things. Yeah, I'll just do this in character, I feel like it. Pyre will scratch his chin and he says, from the name and the theorems that have been posted, there are two sets of thought tied to that name. One is something that enhances one's personality and appearance, a shimmering, an attraction. It makes your words sweeter and your actions more heroic looking. The other is the exact opposite, more of a disguise, something that allows you to make a set of armor or clothing appear like any other set of armor or clothing.
Well, you certainly are imaginative. Armor of Gleaming is not so fantastical. Unfortunately, it's a very, very common item that's told to even the most basic of smiths. It doesn't have very many practical applications. What we call Armor of Gleaming is simply armor that is designed to resist any sort of wear, tear, or
Character
I'm trying to find
degradation.
Erosion, etc.
erosion.
Rust.
I want to say the word dirty, basically any sort of grime or dirt that gets on it, but I can't find
Soil.
a different word. Soil. Soil, yes. Soil. Yes. Any wear, tear, or soil. Now that you know what it is, I will let you use... Now that you know what it is, I shall show you the ingredients that are used, that could be used to make Armor of Gleaming. And this one is fairly simple. And he drops a few crystals onto a nearby table. These are essences of magic, one related to each of the gods, including the fallen ones. Now that you know what Armor of Gleaming sets out to achieve, I will let you try to solve this problem. The process is very simple. You will using any twirls the hammer that he used to pull this forge up out of the ground. Using this hammer, using this hammer, you will infuse that armor. He points to an armor that would be equivalent to whatever it is you're wearing right now. If it's chainmail or something, then that's what it is. If it's plate mail, then that's what it is.
I would love to tell you plate mail DM, but the truth is
it's-
I am a 4-player and I am wearing, I believe, chainmail.
Chainmail. Yeah. So he points over to a piece of chainmail and he says,
Scale mail, sorry, scale mail.
Scale mail. Scale mail. Okay. He points over to a piece of scale mail and he says, using this hammer, you're going to firmly strike the shoulders and the chest. You're going to grab the stone, and after striking them, you're going to grab the stone and you're going to do it again. You're going to be infusing it with the essence. It's going to be simple this time around because the hammer will be doing a lion's share of the work. It'll get the more complicated and nuanced parts out of the way. Right now, I want to hear your decision-making. All of the essences related to all of the gods are here, with the exception of Zygen. For that one, you will be using your own mark. And don't worry, if you decide to use the Mark of Zygen, I shall tell you how to infuse your own power within it. And I am going to just, you do have a list of the current Pantheon, but now I need to include the rest of the Pantheon.
Oh boy. Alright, so this is going to be a puzzle. When talking about the list of the current Pantheon, is that on Roll20 or are you talking about private message?
I am probably going to type this in general chat. Give me a sec. Each
Alright,
of
take your
instances of
time.
the god. So yeah, give me a second. God damn it, I just clicked on Google Chrome. Instinct. Hold on, I need to kill Chrome. Okay. Hold on. Bear with me, as I need to include several other names, including the progenitors. So we've got this one.
Alright, so shoulders and chest. That gives me 3 places, right?
Yep, 3 places you need to hammer. Okay, and I need to... Oh god. Gotta... Mastery, dredge... 12... Gale... 13... Polaris...
Alright, while the DM's doing that, how's everyone holding up? I know I've taken more time than I expected.
Yeah, I was going to...
I thought I'd be gathering rumors in the marketplace. And it turned into something cool.
Hey, if it makes you feel better, I'm buying a cloak.
It's gonna be the most amazing cloak. I can't wait for this side adventure.
It's gonna have to be.
Zaliel's just whittling his thumbs at the entrance like, no, I deserve this. They all deserted me. Yep, just here alone.
To be fair, you could have gone with Zorg and I were just normal ass shopping.
I didn't know, and now I'm just sitting here alone.
Well, that's your fault.
It's one of those things where
No
it's
one
like,
to
don't
blame
get out
but
secret
yourself.
sight. Slime's like, fade away. Crouches in the crowd and just crab walks away.
I was trying to think of the most narratively fitting thing.
Ash, how's your mic working so far? I'm going to assume he either didn't hear me or his mic's not working.
I don't think it works at all anymore.
Poor guy. But
Does
hey, new
your-
laptop.
Does your laptop even come with a mic-ish? I wonder.
Yeah. So this is just righteous irony. I was going to go talk to you, Joe, and essentially tell you like, hey, like, you know, you were really cool in the spotlight. Don't worry about taking up time. I loved it. And you know what does the DM do? He throws me in the spotlight, and I start getting uncomfortable. Like, oh, how much time am I taking up? And like, okay, I should not give advice I cannot use myself.
You're good, man. You're good. No, it's fun. I'm just listening, enjoying, chilling. It's nice to relax and just, you know, listen to some D&D.
And my man, Stefan, I want to do it. I'm not sure if we'll have time today, but Pyre's going to have some words about you backing him up without being prompted. Oh, wow. That was cool.
Was only telling the truth. I had my questions about you. I figured you'd probably be a spoiled brat, but you held your own.
I got just under 2 hours left, maybe 2 hours left of this session, but I'm loving it and can't wait for our first dungeon eventually, you know?
That is the entire list of
Oh, snap.
everyone.
Oh, snap.
The entire list of everyone.
Oh, Visage. I've been
names.
saying Vision. Oh my god, okay.
I am going to have to go through here and copy and paste. While I'm working on this, do you want to transition to someone else while I process my ideas on combinations?
Alright. Go ahead. And, Ash, you could check Windows. You could also go to your user settings and see if you can rebind the mic. If it's... I'm not sure if it's replacing your mic or whatever, or if it's...
Oh, that's a good point. What if it's using push-to-talk and he doesn't even realize it?
Yeah, so...
I didn't even think of that.
If you're in Discord, go to the bottom. So, if you see all of us in voice chat, go to the bottom. There's a little cog that, if you click on that, that's your user settings, and that should bring up a whole bunch of settings. If you want, I could just share my screen and walk you through it. But when you're in user settings, just just look down until you see the option that says voice and video. And the first thing he's referring to is if you look below, you can see a section that's called input mode, and you can change that to voice activity. That's the first thing to check, to see if it's on voice activity instead of push to talk. The second thing to check would be at the very top at the what is it, the input device? Yeah, the input device is your microphone, and you can reassign that to your laptop mic if it's getting overwritten by your headset mic or something weird like that. You might have to do this every single time you start up Discord. I'm not sure if it's gonna work funny for you.
Discord likes to fight with people a lot. Like I said, also check your Windows settings. Because Windows also likes to fight with people just as much as Discord does. If you want, if you right-click the little speaker icon in your taskbar, and you go to Sounds, and then you can go to Recording. Here, I'll even... Let's make this super simple. So you're going to go here. There's a little speaker icon. You want to click Sounds. Move Windows. It'll open up this menu. Go to Recording. And when you right-click some of the microphones, try speaking and seeing which one detects audio. And set that one to both default device and default communication device, and see what Windows does then. Those are the two things I got for you. And now I'm going to mute my mic because I'm about to be stuffy for a bit.
Alright, Zorg.
Two of these last 10 are the progenitor gods.
The progenitors, right? I remember that detail in your character sheet. Grandel and Viridia are both the progenitors, husband and wife.
I guessed that, but I wanted to make sure. I just looked at what they covered. I was pretty sure it was.
Grandel is specifically Grandel is specifically the embodiment of mana, like the embodiment of the maelstrom of magic that encompasses the world and affects the whole universe. Viridia is consciousness.
Yep.
Everything related to being.
What kind of god would Visage be? Like, it says god of deception and shapeshifting, but like, what is moral?
I mean, well, you know he's a demon, and you probably wouldn't know that much beyond the whole demons tried to take over the world and murder everyone, etc., etc.
Okay.
Especially for you, I don't imagine you being that into your education class, so that's probably literally what you know.
Alright.
Alright, but Zorg, did you want to buy anything special, or is this something...
I want to buy some miner's tools, and I bought a cloak as well.
Some miner's tools.
Or not miner's tools, a pick. A miner's pick.
An actual miner's pick. Okay. Do you want climbing tools along with that? I wonder if there's a...
Yes. I couldn't see any though, but it's definitely there somewhere.
I feel like that does exist somewhere in there. Where is it? Where's the 5e stuff? I believe it might be in the tools. At the very least, I believe... What is it? Pythons? Pythons are related to, scaling and climbing, I believe.
Okay.
There is a climber's kit.
Yeah,
and I think the somewhere that describes what all is in it.
It's in the adventuring gear.
Climber's kit. Adventuring gear. Special pythons, boot tips, gloves, and a harness. You can use it to anchor yourself so that you don't fall. Yeah, okay. So, adventuring stuff. So, climber's kit, and it's in adventuring gear. If I can find it, wherever it is. Climber's kit is 25 gold pieces. And it does have a special thing. It is your job to keep this information somewhere. I'm going to post it in general chat as well as in the game as well. So you can use this to anchor yourself so that if you needed to climb something and you slip and fall, you won't fall to your death. It will save you. It says it's a very rare item, but I imagine this would be something you could buy in VR.
I think that's all. And a cloak. That.
Okay.
A miner's pick and a cloak.
Yeah. I need a cloak, mostly just to disguise myself, because I remember you saying that I was most likely to be identified.
Yeah.
Given my more public nature.
That's correct.
And that could be bad. Something blue. Can I get a blue cloak? Match what I would normally wear.
Yep, that is
I
fine.
can't help myself.
If you want a fancy one, then you can spend one whole gold piece on it.
Oh, I want a fancy one, just a acceptable one.
With your problems, I would suggest getting a reversible. That way you can quickly change from one to another.
You know what?
That is...
Is that considered fancy? Because I'd spend a gold on that.
Sure, go ahead.
A reversible, one side blue, one side black. Very different colors.
Are they going to be plain, or are they going to have a different design as well?
No, I think they'll both be plain. I already wear the mark of Sarkava. I already have my holy sign, and my body's already marked. I don't need another mark.
Okay.
Even Dad would look at me and be like, "What the fuck?" So, I think we'll call it that. I marked it. I'm going to put it in my inventory, and then I'm good to go.
All right.
Unless you have any social events for us. Social link, go! Sorry, I love those old fucking Persona 4 comic dubs. Who wants to talk about murder? Yay!
You are now friends with this person. They will now die for you. Okay. I'm not gonna do your social event secret. Not yet. Not until after this, while you guys are enjoying the festival and prepping for the Tournament of Steel. We'll do that later. The thing with Cass.
Oh boy, I have something later? I can't wait.
Oh yes. Chances are I'm probably going to be doing something with all of you again later on.
Oh boy.
Yep.
It's not armor crafting, right? Because I can't do that.
Yes, Cass is secretly an armor smith as well. You will be taught magical smithing.
I fucking hope not. That man's already got enough fucking talent.
Yes, talent for annoying people and just being stupidly lucky. I guess stupid lucky is a
Well,
talent.
luckily for him, I apparently put up with annoying people a lot.
I mean, the next social link that would come to mind would be Ash, but his mic situation is currently borked.
I cannot believe you actually called it a social link situation.
Look, this is essentially what your NPCs are.
Oh my god. So what domain would Cass fall under?
He does worship Serkava as well, so I guess
Was there a fate domain? I can't remember.
I can't remember. He probably would be
No,
Peace
as
domain
in
along
Persona.
with you.
Persona domains.
Persona
So
domains?
to crash
Oh, okay.
this conversation,
All right.
I did come up with 2 solutions, and
Okay.
I am balancing on the edge of a knife between the things that fit the themes of being durable and clean, and the things fitting the themes of being good craftsmanship and God's craft that have showed me favor. What do I know about the unknown element, Arcus? I know he's a fallen god. I know he's the god of the forge. I believe in what you told me he was more of a southern god with the dwarfs, where they were more about industry and perfecting the craft of a single item rather than making new innovations.
Yes. Essentially, Arcus and Zygen, they are both the gods of the Forge. They are basically one half of the gods of the Forge. Every place that worships Zygen would have also worshipped Arcus.
Okay. From my viewpoint, are any of these crystals corrupted? Or are they things that were forged before the gods fell?
From your viewpoint, you probably would be disgusted at Rosend, Visage, and Solemn's crystals. Just because, but you don't know if like these existed before they fell, or if he got them after they fell. All you know is that they are related to them.
Okay. Let's check my spells. I swear, whoever has detect magic, you have totally messed me over. I do not have it. Oh well. I'm going to do the traditional approach. I am going to pick up the hammer, and I'm going to sort the crystals into 3 groups.
Okay.
2 groups of 3. The first group being Arcus, Zygen, and Zerkava. The second group of 3 being Lumen, Grandel, and Renea. And the third group being the rejects that go back in the bag.
Okay.
And with the hammer in hand, I will pick up the first group, Arcus, Zygen, and Zerkava. How does that feel when I focus on both the crystals and the hammer?
So there is not a crystal related to Zygen, because he said you're gonna use your own. So
okay,
technically you
so I
only
pick
have
up those 2 crystals and then
I'll be right back.
concentrate on my mark. You are right, DM.
Yeah.
I jumped the gun on that one.
Okay, you pick up the 2 crystals, Arcus and Zerkava. They do feel familiar to you. Like since you are technically a descendant of Arcus as well as a as well as in a contract with Zerkava, they feel familiar with you. You do feel more, I suppose, confident with working with these if you had to work with them. You can kind of understand how to apply them a little bit better due to your familiarity.
All right. Do I sense any tension between them? Resistance in my hand, them pushing each other apart, them having friction or static or anything to show that they are non-compatible?
No, there's nothing that seems to be pushing them apart.
Okay. I'll put those back down for the moment and then put my hand over the 3 I selected that were, I'm just going to post this for your ease. The 3 I selected that were for practicality. Lumen, Randall, and Renea. Are any of those corrupted gods?
None of them are fallen gods. They have just been exiled from... So, Reyna has just been exiled from the continent, and Grandel, you don't know the situation of Grandel. It's just that he doesn't appear to answer prayers anymore, and he seems to have disappeared altogether.
Okay. So that does make it potentially harder to work with. Again, similar test. Do I get any feelings from them? Do I feel any weave? Do I have any inspiration of how to use these?
All of these would be pretty unfamiliar with you, but Reyna, you can just by handling them, you kind of get a feeling for what they can do. Like Lumen, you can feel like you can understand how to apply it if you wanted, say, light to come out of the metal object. And for Reyna, just handling it around a little bit, you get the impression that this would probably enhance durability.
Okay, light, durability, and Grandel is somewhat silent.
Grandel...
Unfathomable might be a better term.
Unfathomable. You feel like... Grandel's confuses you. But it confuses you because it's just so massive, in a sense. Like, there's unlimited amount of possibilities of what you could do with it, and you can't even grasp, like, how to even apply it.
Okay. So, Randall is probably the biggest hurdle I have. Renea and Lumen both actually seem like they would work well. Lumen, I would have to convince him that light is purity, that something clean reflects light, but I think that's possible. Randall is a big pill to swallow, and Renea sounds exactly like what I need. However, considering the person I'm working with, the hints I've been given, I think the test here isn't necessarily how I use these things, but why I use these things. And I will actually say this out loud. Pyre vocalizes his thoughts. He says, I see 2 paths before me, one of which is less familiar than the other.
Just to be a little bit clearer, he never limited you on how many you can use. He did just say what he was saying when he said, like, hammering the left shoulder, right shoulder, and chest. It's like, he's basically just going through the process of, okay, to infuse it to the entire thing, this is what you do. He's not exactly just saying, all you can use is 3.
Okay. But the more I use, the more complicated it gets, and the more resistance there would be from things pulling in different directions. I do not want to use 6.
Okay.
Alright, so yeah, he'll stick to the rule of 3. 3 is a pretty constant thing in art of if there's 2 it feels awkward, 1 it feels fine, 3 it feels right. It just balances out the survey. So he will say, do I go with what's familiar with me or do I go with what's unknown? And he starts to pray to Zygen and then cuts himself off. He pulls back from that train of thought and he thinks about who he wants to be. And he repeats the goals. The goal for this armor is to have durability and for it to resist being soiled. Something that will last for extended period of time that's immune to the passing of time almost. So do I make it well made? Keep it clean with luck? Or do I do what it's supposed to do? DM, I'd like to roll Arcana.
Okay. What
See if
exactly
I
are
can
you
get
looking
some
for?
clues here. I am looking for flaws in my logic. I am looking for the knowledge of the arcane that I have at the moment and the potential pitfalls that I have. I know the difficulty of working with these pieces, but I'm thinking more about the combinations of these pieces, the outcomes.
Okay.
Does that make more sense?
Okay. Combination pieces,
If I had to pick out the problem children, it would be Arcus, and it would be Grandel I'm the most concerned about.
Okay.
Click
So you want me?
Arcana.
Yeah. Make your Arcana check. So you want me? Do you want me to answer based off of Arcus and Grandel, or do you want me to base it off of like just your logic of everything in total, including gods you haven't mentioned?
Originally, it was everything in total. Let's have me roll twice. Once for Arcus, once for Grandel. Arcus first, Grandel second. That's an 18 and a 15.
Grandel second. Okay. Question. Okay. Was the question your flaws in your logic, or was it
Arcus,
something else?
it was so the difficulties of combining Arcus with Zygen and Circava, having those three work together. Unforeseen pitfalls, essentially, with those three. Specifically with the element of Arcus being added to it.
From your experience from handling all of them, none of them seem to repel each other. Even the empowering, even the overwhelming power from Grandel's crystal, it didn't seem to repel anything. If anything, they seemed to like slowly attract to each other, all of them.
Okay.
It doesn't seem like any of them would particularly repel each other.
Okay, that frees up my biggest concerns. Oh my gosh. Okay, so out of character DM, the main question I'm choosing between is, do I go with the gods that I've interacted with so far, or do I go with gods I'm not necessarily interested in as a character, but shows that I'm trying something new? I feel like with this, I am going to go with what I'm familiar with, unfortunately, simply because it represents more of who I am and where I've come from, rather than me going beyond my limits and experimenting with things that could potentially have catastrophic differences. Light, purification, earth, and crystals, those are great, but eternity sounds like I'm making a vorpal sword into a suit of armor, which could be bad. So let's go Arcus, Zygen, and Circava in the order as listed. I will start out with left shoulder Arcus, right shoulder Zygen, and the chest Circava. Working as directed. Zygen, I do my best to let the hammer guide me, and I channel my energies through my mark into the hammer when I strike.
At some point, Mr. Butler has gotten into the forge, like, although there were no doors, a door basically slides open, like a pathway basically slides open, and Mr. Butler comes in. He arrives as you've been mulling over what to do and how to tackle this challenge, and you diligently start hammering each piece into a particular part of the armor. Runescar is just sitting there with a poker face, and he is just kind of, and you do just hear him just kind of nod his head and go, interesting, every once in a while.
Now, when I look at this, I do the hammer one time each. It's still not done. It requires multiple hammerings, right?
Yep.
All right, so I will rotate the pieces, specifically in the order of clockwise. And that way
Okay.
the influence of the gods are spread throughout the armor rather than just in one place. But I will end where I began, hopefully with Arcus on the left, Zygen on the right, and Sarkava on the chest.
Okay.
As I do this, I focus my will and my energies on my intent of making this armor refuse to be soiled. It's not that it cleans itself, and it's not that it emits light, but rather it's simply of a craftsmanship where soiling materials, dirt, dust, rust, those things simply do not find foothold on it. As for the wear and tear, I'm focusing on a combination of craftsmanship, of trust in how this armor was made, trust in the gods blessing it, and trust in my own power being poured into it. And I am also putting a little bit of trust into Sarkava's blessing on this armor, to not only, while the blacksmith would prevent it from being struck directly, Sarkava would prevent the blow from landing in the first place.
Okay.
So where one is resilience, the other is to avoid it. And with this, I am willing to use spell slots. I am willing to use endurance, whatever you want, TM. But I'm putting my efforts and thought in this. Has my sole concentration unless my grandfather speaks up.
I mean, the thing is, your grandfather would be helping you along because you chose to use Zygen, and there was not a crystal for a Zygen, so you would have been applying your own mark of Zygen power to.
How do I do that? Like, in my mind's eye, I see myself putting my hand on my mark and my other hand using the hammer to
pull off the
hit it.
holy symbol I've been wearing, and I say, here. It is the holy symbol of your father.
Runescar puts his hands up and says, "That will not be necessary. This is something that he needs to learn sooner or later." And he tells you, be careful not to hit your hand. I want you to focus. I want you to sit there and focus. Focus intently on concentrating mana around your hand. You should feel it begin to ball up. As you become more familiar with your power, you will eventually be able to manifest flames itself. But at the moment, you can only manifest a small amount of mana, but it will suffice for what we are attempting to do. So you begin to focus. You can see, where was your mark again? Was it on the shoulder?
Let me double check.
I think it was on the shoulder.
I believe it's between my shoulder blades.
Between your shoulder blades. Okay.
Not between. It's like a wing pattern on my shoulder blades. Let me look up
Wing
the
pattern.
bio and
Okay.
info, blah, blah, blah. So the center of the infinity loops are located where wings would have been on Pyre's back. The flames peak over his shoulder blades. So it's kind of like, again, loops on the shoulder blades and then flames coming up over the shoulder a little bit.
Okay, so the entire top half of Pyre's back begins to glow. You can see like a really tiny ball of fire just begin emanating out of your palm. And Runescar says, maintain that concentration, and when you feel ready, when the fire reaches its peak, I want you to swing. And you do exactly as he instructs. And you manage to infuse a little bit of Zygen's power into the armor. Let's see. And I assume you basically verbalized all of your thoughts, right? About what you were choosing, why you were choosing this, and what you were hoping, and what your goal was. Okay.
Pyre thinks about them, he figures them out, and then he expresses them similar to a thesis in an essay, where he doesn't state it as a question nor as a fact. but he states it as a hypothesis of this is why I'm doing this and this is my focus. All right, and he commits to it.
Okay.
This is scary, DM.
After you are finished, the armor does seem to be glowing just a little bit, glowing just a faint red glow.
All right, I'm going to do a finishing touch, if you'll allow me.
Okay, go ahead.
This armor, scale metal, right? Metal on the outside.
Yes.
So I've been pounding, symbols of the forge, of innovation, and of fortune into it, and to put it to the final test, and probably to the thrill of the crowd, it starts glowing. I hit the final symbols in the order I want. I feel from the hammer that it's done. And before I let go of the hammer, I will go ahead and inhale deeply and let out a pillar of flame, a cone of fire that bathes it in a finishing light. I'll step back, nod, put the hammer down on the table. It is done.
Okay. The armor is glowing a little hotter red as you had breathed fire on it, and Runescar walks up to it. He inhales a deep breath, and he releases he releases his breath. He funnels it through his hand, and you just hear a hiss as the fire goes, as the glow begins to go out on the armor. All right. Let me see. So in the end, you chose powers that were familiar to you.
There were powers I could have chosen that would have resulted in perhaps a better theme that would have more focus. But I did choose the familiar powers simply because this was a beginning project. If I was to prove any degree of mastery, is not with familiarity, nor is it with the unknown, but rather is with simplicity and the basics. Like a cook making a pure omelet out of 3 eggs and a little bit of salt. Its judgment is not on the quality of what is put into it, but rather the quality of the craftsmanship. Am I open to using other deities? Yes. However, these were the ones that supported me until here, and I thought it was fitting to at least nod in their direction of what came before.
Arcus was not a master of using all the elements when he first started out as well. Being the god of mastery, he worked very, very hard on learning the various powers of the gods and how to incorporate them into the armor. Zygen might have wild theories on how to solve problems, but sometimes the solution he comes up with are not practical on a scale that would be useful to you or me. That is why Arcus was there, at his side, figuring out how to add that element of practicality. Let's put your armor to the test. You are trying to create an armor that is immune to wear, tear, and being soiled in any capacity. Well, we have a few tests to see how well it holds up. The first test, Mr. Butler, the ink pot. Now I can see that you decided, yep, the ink pot.
Oh, that's killing me. I did not think about ink. I thought about dirt. Anyway, keep going.
So, yep, yep. It's like, this is what he's trying to get at. The ink pot. And Mr. Butler pours a little bit of ink onto the armor, and the ink bursts into flames. It touches the armor, it bursts into flames, and it leaves a black residue on part of the armor. As you can see...
I bite my lip, but I continue to watch.
As you can see, it has failed one of the tests. Not only do you need to worry about dirt and debris, not only do you need to worry about battle scars, you need to worry about every single possible scenario. Otherwise, you can't rightly call this Armor of Gleaming. The idea of using Zygen's power to dry up liquids is certainly a good one. The idea of using Serkava to avoid battle damage in the first place is certainly a good one. And the idea of using Arcus to, say, mold the metal or grant it durability. I can see where you got all of those ideas. However, there were more problems outside of what you had thought. You need to get into the habit of accounting for all variables, such as ink, a simple one. The next one we shall do. Mr. Butler, why don't you... Mr. Butler, let's see... Some dirt, please. We'll make it simple. Armor not only has to worry about various liquids touching it, they also have to worry about general wear from rocks, general coatings of dust. Let's see how it fares to a little bit of dirt. And Mr. Butler smears some dirt, and just like before, you can smell a little bit of smoking. You can smell a little bit of smoking on a different part of the armor. And as you hear a little bit of fizzling and crackling as smoke rises. And when it's done, you can see a couple more burn marks on the side. Like, some of the dirt is gone, but you can see that it very clearly left a mark. The Mark of Zygen does improve a resistance to heat and a resistance to burn marks. However, as you can see, it does not prevent some of the residue. While fire can be useful in a lot of ways, it can get rid of troublesome liquids as well as certain troublesome materials like dust that could easily be burnt away. However, it's not the best in all situations. For example, for the two tests we did earlier, the ink and the dirt, and he fishes out some of the crystals that you put away, and he pulls out Aqua's crystal, Aqua, the god of water and blood, and Gale's crystal, the god of air and freedom. And he hammers that onto the piece of armor. Mr. Butler? Again. And this time, when Mr. Butler pours the ink onto the armor, the ink does not stain, it does not burn, it just flows right off the armor. There's not a single drop on the armor. And when he smears dust on that, when he smears dust onto the armor, the dust stays for a little bit, and then you can feel a small breeze coming through as you can see like dust begin to rise off of the armor. As you can see, certain gods are better at dealing with some of the problems that you will face. Aqua's power allows a liquid to stay in liquid form, so it cannot stain or adhere to any surface, whether it's honey or ink or any other staining liquid. And Gale is much better suited for getting rid of small debris. However, there's still more. We haven't accounted for all variables. Mr. Butler? Yes, yes, my lord. And Mr. Butler grabs a gigantic mole from the side of the room, and he readies it up and smashes down on the armor. There's a loud thud as it echoes into the room. And when he lifts it up, some of the scales are broken. And you can clearly see like a bunch of dents and scratches on the armor. And while some of the armor begins to reform, like the broken pieces do not reconnect. And Runescar picks up the pieces, tosses them up into the air, and he says, Arcus's mastery at molding metal is second to none. However, his power alone does not give minerals or steel its strength. That comes from Reyna. And he pulls out Reyna's stone and hammers it back in. And you can see some of the armor. You can see the armor begin to reattach itself and repair itself in a sense. Do note that this is merely reshaping the armor. If acid were to eat away at the armor, it would still do damage. It just does not exhibit any outward wear and tear. And now, for the last one. We've done extreme damage, but what if we wanted... But... here's the final problem. He picks up the scale mail, and he moves it over, and he walks over to you. Like, this scale mail was built accounting for a normal 6-foot human, but you're 8 feet tall. You're a massive guy.
Yep.
This is the final issue. Out of character. Did you have any comments or show any visual feedback in regards to Rosend, Visage, and Solemn's crystals, the fallen gods?
Let me double check. Rosen, Visage, and Solemn.
Yep.
Solemn, he would not have
The
been
magic
happy
one.
with. Visage, he actually considered for a moment, but then discarded. It was simply not the use he was expecting. Rosalind, he did also consider. So it was between Rosalind and Visage. While Solemn was simply didn't seem to be relevant. He did try to remain somewhat neutral, but of course it's Pyre, he's biased. So his thought process was Rosalind would not protect the armor, but she would be able to allow it to reincarnate, essentially, reform. Visage would be about shapeshifting, so it would be more of... how do I even put this? It would be adjusting the armor for the situation. So say you poured water on it, Visage would probably make it waxy so the water fell off. If you put it on fire, maybe he would make it have a fire-resistant oil. If it was hit by a hammer, he might move the shape of the armor to absorb or repel the attack a little bit better. So those two had tempting ones. But again, Solemn was the most recent issue that he ran into with the worshippers down below. And he was the primary source of Pyre's distaste.
Okay, do you want to verbalize your thought process? He
Does he
probably would
ask
have
me?
asked you. He probably would have asked you.
Okay.
I see you
So-
have thrown out all the corrupted crystals as well. Have any reason for that?
I had considered them. If the two options I chose were between the known and the unknown, the corrupted, I do not even know if they were corrupt or if they were forged before those gods had become corrupted. But regardless, I saw a rarity in them, assuming that they were pure crystals, that would not be smart to use in a simple project, but should be withheld for something either more advanced or when I am not grasping blindly at straws.
I see.
Rosalind and Visage, with reincarnation and shapeshifting, had potential, but I figured that they did not fit the bill of what was required from the specifications from the commissioner, and he looks at his teacher.
I see. I suppose you can consider this one of your first lessons. Actually, let me ask you a question. Fire. Does that originate from Zygen, or does it originate somewhere else?
I do not know the answer to that, but if I was to hazard a guess, based on what I've been told and understood, this is very difficult to say without being blasphemous. I believe between Zygen and the element of fire, that the element of fire is older.
And you are correct. The same goes for the rest of the crystals, including, and he holds up a crystal related to Visage, including this one. The power of the gods, in a form of a brand, they do derive directly from them. However, these essences of magic, these do not derive from them. Fire has always existed. You can see Zygen as more of a master of his particular element, not the originator of it. The same can be said for the rest of them. So there is nothing
it as a steward, but a master is a different perspective. I will think on that.
Anyone can cast fire magic regardless of whether or not Zygen gives his consent. With the exception of, say, a cleric, who derives their powers directly from the gods. But in the case of others, they do not need a god's permission in order to access a particular spell. And he holds up a crystal related to Visage. And he puts it down onto the armor and begins hammering it into the armor.
I've spoken of the possibilities of shapeshifting being useful, but the quickest, easiest, and less effort way to do it would have been deception. No one knows an army is dirty as it does not appear to be so, regardless of the truth.
Indeed.
I consider that to be a cheap shortcut.
Indeed. But that is why we use the rest of them. Visages, in addition to shapeshifting and deception, it makes the armor more adaptable in a sense. More malleable. You can say that this can function more like, I suppose, conduits don't exist. But I would say it's like, you could say that it's can function as the heart of the armor. One that brings everything together. The Mark of Visage can adapt to all circumstances. And that is why he's the god of many faces, the god of deception, and the god of shapeshifting. With all of the powers of these gods working together, you can create an armor that will never be soiled through any means. And on top of that, the added addition of Visage means that it can adapt its shape to fit any wearer, including you. And he hands you the scale mail if you accept it.
Yeah. If the guy handed him like a bag of shit, he would take it. So yeah, he accepts the scale mail. Reverently, I might add.
You still have much to learn. Much to learn about the world, much to learn about the gods. And I understand there is a lot of uncertainty, both with gods that you are unfamiliar with, and both with your core beliefs on how this world works. With time, I will show you exactly how to become, well, if you give it some time, perhaps you can take the best of both worlds from Arcus and Zygen. They have their faults, they are not perfect, but they are skilled. And he gives
bows.
You,
And
he gives you a slight smile.
He bows in response, and as he holds it deeper and longer, a bit more humbled, he will say, I have come to learn, and you have shown me that I have much to learn. This in itself is of good value.
Stefan has been watching very closely, and he speaks up now and asks, may I have a crystal?
A crystal? Exactly which
Yes,
one
one that is very hard to come by. I would like a crystal of Grendel.
Any particular reason why?
That is the god I actually worshipped. And I pull out I reach into my pouch and I pull out a bunch of different gods, holy symbol. I say, I usually wear one that is appropriate for where I'm going, but I do have a true god that I worship. And I would like to have something that represents Grendel.
He thinks about it for a moment, and then he grabs the stone. It's a really small stone. What he did on the Armor of Gleaming, like, it didn't require much. You are missing one in that list. Zygen was used in that as well. Yeah, Zygen was used in that Armor of Gleaming recipe. You had already used it. Yeah. It's a very, very small crystal. So he says... So he grabs the crystal and he says, it's fairly rare to see someone who still worships a progenitor. You are aware of what that arrogant god did, right?
Yes, he doesn't answer anybody, but I still believe.
How old are you exactly?
I'm in my 20s.
I see.
Why did you let me call you old man earlier? What the fuck? I literally at the fountain said, I like your thinking, old man, and you didn't stop me and be like, excuse me, bitch, I'm in my 20s. You let me think you're playing an older character.
Why would I bother to correct you?
I mean, here's the thing: if we bothered to correct every little slip up like
now,
Tarkova,
if we're talking about out of character, yeah, I'm old.
But I was talking to you in character. That's the problem.
Yeah, I know.
I conflated your actual age. Sorry, I'll shut up. It just struck me funny. That's all.
Yeah.
Maybe because my character acts older than he is.
I mean, you are basically a parent here.
Yes, I'm a parent by default here, and I'm not that much older than she is, but it's more like she's my kid.
Yep, pretty much. Anyway, shoot, what was I thinking? Yeah, he hands you the crystal and he says, "There is a much bigger history behind Grendel than you ever know, though it's not my place to tell it all right here. You will learn about the history
Perhaps
of
someday
Grendel, and perhaps the history of the World War when the time comes."
Perhaps.
And you have one crystal related to Grendel.
Okay.
All right, if you could get me one too, that'd be great. Thanks. Stefan clearly just hears in his head, "Hey, I need a Cercava crystal. If you could just get that for me, thanks."
I got my Sakava holy symbol and every other holy symbol that's common.
This man literally is chaos undivided, but like fucking, like the reverse. My God.
So
Anyways,
I will point out that Pyre has not raised his head nor his back. He is still in the bowing position.
Okay, you're still bowing. And let's see. Alright. I'm not entirely sure how you would do this. You would probably... Runescar would twirl the hammer in his hands. Well, actually, he would grab another hammer from the forge. He would grab another hammer in the forge. He'd twirl it around, and you see the hammer. You see the hammer right in front of you. I assume you've got your eyes open and your eyes are not closed. So you see the handle of the hammer right in front of you, and he says, "This is a novice's hammer for crafting magical items. With my tutelage, you will begin to learn how to harness your own power and harness the power of the gods. You will learn what makes Arcus so great, the same way that you have learned what makes Zygen so great. And I hope..."
And with that, go ahead.
"And I hope that you do not inherit Zygen's arrogance. There you can learn much, even from the dimmest orc. If you close off your
Looks over at
mind..."
Zorg. Sorry.
Looks over at
Looks over at Zorg.
I mean, that is basically what I was referring to.
James, please don't hate me. I love you.
I can't believe you. I remember this day.
You're not here, okay?
I love you. I love you, I swear. We're going girl shopping, remember, I love you.
So let me know when you're done, DM. But Pyre remains bowing until his grandfather and now teacher's speech is finished. At which point he's sure he's done talking, he will accept the hammer.
Okay. So anyway, you can learn much even from the dimmest orc. And I do hope that you have not inherited Zygen's sexism, because I do have another disciple Perhaps you will
Slight narrowing of the eyes.
Perhaps you will meet her someday. She is in this town, so perhaps the meeting isn't too far off. You don't need to know her name, nor do you need to concern yourself with rumors about her. But I see great things in both of you, and I hope that the two of you can work out your differences and work together. The next time you see me, we will work on harnessing your power. For a custom magic item that has to do with fire, your Mark of Zygen. So we'll figure that out later.
Okay. One thing I would like to address, I'm sorry to drag this out. You were saying something?
No, he's basically done.
Okay. Pyre will grasp the hammer, but before pulling it out of his grasp, he will look up a little bit more, look into his eyes of his grandfather, and he will say, I understand what you have to offer me. I also understand the nature of dragons is to grow one's horde and not shrink it. What do you benefit from this arrangement?
Could you repeat the dragons, what dragons want?
I know the nature of dragons and is to grow their horde and not shrink it. By giving me a piece of this knowledge, I know what you can offer me, but what, when this is over, do I offer you?
Perhaps the service would be in order. I want you to find out what happened to your mother. I want you... You're probably the only person I know that could accomplish this. I want you to go into the depths of Zakir and see exactly what skeleton Zygen is hiding in the closet. He must have answers. If she had died...
He tries... Go ahead.
If she had died, then there would have been news of it. He would have proclaimed that news. But he is silent on the matter. And I have my suspicions.
Pyre is in a panic at the moment. He does not show it. There's ever so slight of reactions with his eyes twitching, his eyes widening a little bit as he goes through two solid states. I think because I'm interacting with a NPC who's pretty good at these things that he might pick up on these, so I should communicate them. One is, yes, there are skeletons in the closet, and he knows about them. And two, it never occurred to him that his mother could be down there.
I can see...
And with that...
Like, you look... Like, he can see your eyes. I can see you have some conflict in your eyes. Perhaps the thought never occurred to you. If you're going to confront your father, then you will need to learn. And what I say is only speculation.
If I cannot prove my worth to stand on my own, I have no right to speak to him on these things. I could lean on blood, but you know my opinion on that. I will have to establish myself as at least an inconvenience greater than releasing knowledge of what happened, and I may find a different path should that course prove unresolved. But yes, I do accept this cast, and in Zygen's name, I swear an oath that I will do what is in my power to find out the answer and to return to you with it.
I look forward to it.
Alright, DM. I'm fine with swapping to someone else.
Yep, you two say your goodbyes. The butler offers, like, the butler offers you more pleasantries, like offers you a towel to wipe the sweat off your brow from all the smithing that you had to do, and offers more tea as you guys are about to leave. Alright.
He'll hand the towel to Stefan. Dragons don't sweat. He will, however, accept the tea and drink it a little more shakily and quickly. As we walk away, Stefan, Pyre will mention, you didn't have to say the things you did, nor did you have to put your safety on the line for me. While I called you as a witness, you came as...
You
I did
not
not expect.
ask. I did it on my own. I stated plainly that, like your grandfather, I had questions about you, but you had proven your worth. And I felt it was something that needed to be said, because it sounded like you thought you had nothing to offer. By the way, you got a cool grandfather.
He is impressive. I will consider your words of friendship. And now we swap. Yay!
All right.
Woo, scene change.
Scene change.
Now we sit back and listen.
Ish. So, if you unplugged your headset, even if we could hear each other, would your mic work? Because that's the only other thing.
Come on, Ish. Ash.
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 We have one of two options. We can leave the town and I can start setting up the scene, leaving the town, arriving at the mine, and everything in between. Or we can resolve Ish's thing. Too much background noise? Alright. Alright, we'll do the Plague Doctor thing later. Alright. We still have at least 20 minutes left in the session.
Look, I'll
Should
take
be
it.
enough
You
to
know
get a
me.
cloak.
You know me.
So, so the rest of you beat up. We do have a small... There is one brief thing. Zaliel, Rafayel does inform you that the hippogriff you want is, as a favor from Carla Silverwing. She has the hippogriff you want in one of the stables held in one of the 1%er district mansions. Like on their property, basically. And you are given access to go to that property, go directly to that stable, and kind of interact with it. You still need to do a little bit of taming so that you can actually ride this hippogriff. Let me see do I have the pictures ready on hand? I might have to quickly look it up. But yeah, you do have the opportunity to interact with your little hippogriff if you want to just show how that would be.
Staying, so as I stand by the gate realizing I'm alone, I'm like, fuck this, I'll pursue what Rafayel said, and then I'm like, oh my god, when I get there I'm like, oh my god, this day, it's bad, it's good, it's bad, it's good, it's bad, it's good, I can't handle it. And I'll slowly bow with as much eloquence as I can, and then kind of raise myself up almost as if in a dance, and hold my hand out and hold it up towards the beak. As a demon comes.
There's a wind tunnel
Ooh,
coming
Ash,
through your
that's
bike.
a lot of feedback.
Wind tunnel. Oh,
Yeah.
wind tunnel. I think it's rain. I think he's outside. It's pouring down rain where we are.
Ash,
I
can
think
you
he's
hear
got a
us?
creature in there with him.
Yeah.
My hippogriff got inside his house.
Is it pouring?
Ash,
Alright.
tell us you're safe.
Do you need a better
Can you hear
mic?
me now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we can
okay.
hear you, but we can also hear
the demons that are outside.
Yes.
Alright, let me plug in the mic. Hopefully it doesn't go away. If it does, then yeah, I'm sorry. We're just gonna have to wait till I get a different mic.
Alright, let's try it.
I can give you my hand-me-down blue snowball.
I can also give him hand-me-downs.
I cannot. I don't have any extras.
I have one pair of extras that's pretty shitty, but
I mean, I've got.
Now
the blue
we cannot.
snowball isn't. Yeah, but yeah.
We
we'll
cannot hear
do that
anything now
afterward.
if you're speaking.
Yeah, we cannot hear anything now. Anyway, sorry, Raphael. Sorry. So you arrive at the stable, and what is your reaction?
Jubilation in a way, like surprise, and then of course I'm gonna do my whole little performance to try and get closer to said creature, and then hold my hand out and know, just knowing how my minion was whenever I was little and exactly how that worked, you let it come to you. So I'm just gonna let the last couple feet be up to the hippogriff as I hold out my hand up to where its kind of beak would be.
You hope to hell you don't as the hook after this one.
Hey, if he takes my hand or my life, it was worth it. This thing looks majestic as fuck.
Alright. So this hippogriff was raised in captivity, so it is a lot more docile than the wild hippogriff. So it does look at you a little bit curiously. It walks a little closer to you. And it walks a little closer than you with its beak open. And like, it does slowly bring its beak closer to you, and it just kind of bites you a little bit. Not like a hard bite, but kind of like a playing bite.
And then I would try and, like, sleight of hand kind of grab its feet for a second, and as it panics for almost a moment, give it a little, like, kiss on the beak and let it go.
Kiss it on the beak and let it go. It kind of looks confused. It kind of looks confused. It flaps its wings once and it just backs up a little bit.
I just kind of look at it and kind of hold my presence high in the air, hold my hands up high in the air, and I'll just let my eyes go black and say, "Hey, your friend is here. You are the most majestic with your black wings going into scarlet night. Your eyes like mine. I feel a fellow creature. I know you're there. I don't know if you understand me because I don't speak your language, but I've had a minion like you before, and I know what it's like to be different. You don't want to be captive. I'll let you be free."
Like, it does sound a lot more deeper than the other hippogriffs you've seen. But yeah, it doesn't understand you. It doesn't understand you, but it is clear that you don't seem to mean it harm.
So then I'll just approach and try and, pet and see if it accepts me as I kind of come closer and try to establish physical contact again.
Yeah, you come close. You come closer. Like, it kind of bats your arm away with its head. Not like a hard bat, but like, nope. Don't even think about it, buddy. And then it just walks back into its little corner, just kind of curls up, and looks like he is about to go back to sleep.
Oof. Okay. Out of character. Do I have anything that might entice, or would my character know anything that might entice a creature like this?
I mean, you
Would
do
it be
have
like
rations, so you could
Sorry.
declare that one. You do have rations, so you can declare that one of your rations is something like, I don't know, like beef jerky or some sort of food that's like, these guys are omnivorous, I believe, so they can eat plants and meats. So you could have fruit on your person, or you can have meats on your person. Just subtract a ration basically and declare what it is.
Okay, so yeah, no, I like it. I'll just go ahead and, yeah, like you said, just take out a ration and find a little bit of, dried meat from it. And I'll take it and put it like almost just a few feet from my own feet, closer to me than it is to the creature. And then I'll pull out the viol and start just playing a soft little like hymn and making it kind of pick up in pace and almost trying to set the mood of an like a more upbeat and adventurous type of song, trying to invigorate the creature to come closer to eat and to partake in the performance. I would, maybe a performance, because I'm not good at animal handling, so maybe a performance check or something, I don't know.
The animal just kind of opens its eyes. It sees the meat and it sees you trying to play it a song. Human to animal communication through performance.
It's the only thing I know birds have different performances for different things. I thought maybe this would be the thing, because I have zero animal handle. I'm a bard. I have no animal handling skills. I'm just trying to adapt to the situation.
I mean, if you made an animal handling check anyways, I would have made it with advantage, considering the circumstance.
I'm down for that too, yeah. I'm down for animal handling, or I'm down for whatever you want to do, because I'm confused at what to do in this situation. I'm sorry.
I think that old folk song, On Griffin's Wings.
So... Bear in mind, you're not going to be taming it this session because you are.
Yes, this is an introduction.
Look at the time, but yeah. So make an animal handling check with advantage.
Natural 20.
Oh.
Okay. So are you actually going to be switching up your tactics from playing music to actually trying to do something to handle the animal?
Well, as I imagine the hippogriff would come closer to the meat, I'd stop playing the viol and put it away and just kind of, again, stroke its beak and then to the back of its head and try and see if like it would let me, almost. I don't know what would be good for a bird. Hold its wings out, like stroke its wings, maybe.
So the hippogriff will let you pet its head, and will let you stroke its wings. Though it is worry, it doesn't want to give you the opportunity to jump on top of it because it doesn't quite trust you that much.
I wasn't gonna go that far for sure.
But
yeah, for sure, I understand that.
Like, it extends its wings out at full breadth, but doesn't seem to let you within, say, 1 or 2 feet of it.
And I'll just keep my eyes black as I'm looking at it and just be like, well, I hope for future encounters, and I think our first meeting went well. When I return from the undergrounds, because that's not a place for you, you majestic beast, you. I must find out your name. Once I know your name, and you know mine, we will be intertwined. I cannot wait for this future.
Yeah, it gives... What would a hippogriff sound like? I can't do bird noises. Well, it is. I did establish that
Actually-
it makes a zombie-like noise. So I guess it would just go.
Yes.
Yeah.
To you too.
And as you walk outside, you do see an attendant just kind of giving you a curious look. Were you talking to that thing? It hardly ever talks to anyone. It just makes these weird moaning noises.
I mean, you just gotta kind of understand some people and some creatures are different, and when we're different, we're kind of the same. You're probably not gonna understand that, but basically what I just said was me and that bird, I mean, majestic creature, hippogriff, I think our paths are aligned, and when I get back, taking them off your hands, don't worry.
All right. All right. If you say so. And when you walk out of range, actually, what's your passive perception?
Very low, probably. 11.
11. Okay. So that you would not hear this, but the 10 says, so you're both freaks then. All right. All right. Okay, okay. We have done all of that. We're not going to do Ash's event yet, and Secret's event is going to be after this one with Cass and Lucille. Okay. All right. And Stefan's will also be later. All right. With that done, if anyone has any last thing they want to do before they leave, you can feel free to do so now.
What level are we supposed to be? Since I missed last week, we didn't level up, did we? We're still 3,
No,
right?
You're still 3. Yep.
Okay. No, are we still 3? Not just me. Are we still 3? I don't like that look.
Everyone is
Okay.
3.
We all leveled up and you didn't.
I was gonna say, that's gonna be bad for y'all, because those are the heals. Just saying.
No, don't worry. Monica is able to cast Dimensional Door at level 3.
Oh, yeah, alright. You guys have
Actually,
fun
do
with
have
your
a-
Dimensional Door.
I do have a question though. DM, does Zaliel lose any spell slots or any health from his ordeal going into this adventure, or am I at full everything? How would this work?
Well, you don't have your Necrotic Shroud because you used that, but I believe
Yes.
everything... I don't believe you casted anything else. You were prevented from casting Mirror Image.
Interrupted
so
every time?
Essentially, yeah.
Like, and when I... Okay. That was with the whole slapping. Yeah. Okay.
There is one thing I want to say to Stefan. In character. Pyre would speak up and he would say something along the lines of, You heard my statements about a dragon's horde, yes?
Yes.
To my knowledge, my grandfather is a dragon. That is not a figure of speech. Because he's given you a piece of his hoard, that crystal, however small, he will see to the ends of the earth that you return that investment to him tenfold. Do not make the assumption of thinking that was a gift.
Oh. I will keep an eye on you. I will make sure that you don't get arrogant.
That may help.
And when you need help,
But-
I will give it to you.
It is not about me. He may see that as a service, but consider if I was not in the equation, what you would do to repay my grandfather. If you have a plan in mind, you have safety. If you have no plan, if you have no considerations in that regard, you are already doomed. Entertainment is a viable outcome. Knowledge, bets, wealth, rarities, any of those things. A dragon's hoard is not always gold. They will trade something less valuable for something more valuable.
Your grandfather will get what he expects from me.
Simply a nod. It's considered on the nose to tell people that directly. So please don't tell him I told you. It's just and he clears his throat and continues onwards in the crowd.
He's an interesting man, and I think a relatively good man.
You're talking to Monica
and you're lucky to
Pyre,
have
right?
him. Yeah.
Wait, and you're looking.
And you're
wait.
lucky to have him.
Oh yes, an actual
his-
demigod. Oh, this is so interesting. I never thought I'd meet someone. I never thought I'd meet someone so impressive like Runescar. Oh, I need to do some research. Who is Runescar? Notes for the future.
Get out your laptop and Google him.
You should have seen the family mills. This one went far better. Less moving pieces.
We will actually have to go to a library to look up your grandfather. And when I say we, I mean Monica will take me to a library to go look at things.
I suppose we can make a detour, but would the
Well,
others be
not
waiting
today.
on us?
When we get back from the mines. Assuming we're coming back.
He is old, but if the library is compromised due to certain events, my suggestion
might
would be
not
the
show
market
up, but-
district.
I'm sure we can find information at some library somewhere. Or we can find somebody who's really old.
It's not necessarily about age. It's the fact you have a rare opportunity here. You are able to see him in the person. Although there's few people there who are important, you saw the ripples he made in the community. News of his presence will get out. He is not one for hiding. And you can observe history as it is made. Compare it to what you find. Compare it to what the past is. In fact, Pyre stops suddenly and turns to Stefan. You flattered him and threw him me, but what were your real impressions? If you had to look through the superficial family connections.
If I look beyond it, I see a man who, when given a choice of helping you or ignoring you, made the right choice. He really did not know you that well. And he wanted you to prove yourself worthy of him. You did well enough for him to accept you. And he seems like he seems like one who is considered legendary in some of the books.
To walk among gods.
And probably has earned it.
Why did he consider me passing his test? I did the work. I was able
You
to
did
put the
it.
symbol on the
You made
armor.
mistakes, but you tried. You didn't look at the task and say, this is too much. I don't know. You tried. And that's the first test, is trying to do it. Do you see that?
A little.
You weren't successful in your initial analysis, but he didn't hold that against you. He wanted you to try. And when you tried, he helped you through. He showed you where your flaws were, and said you'll do better next time. Practice. But you tried. If you had just said, I don't know, you would have failed his test. But the fact that you tried made it a success.
It was a close thing, though. I suspected he would loan me the armor, and I wanted to balance those who had come before. I was more concerned about who was involved in the process than about the outcome of the process, and that was part of my failure. I thought more of myself than the commissioner. If you were in my shoes, say even with the skills and knowledge you have now, how would you have done it differently?
I would have chosen different crystals, but I would still have been wrong. And I would have accepted being wrong, as you did.
Well, about the negotiations before and afterwards, you mentioned accepting being wrong, but surely anyone could do that.
Anyone could who was given the opportunity. You went and humbled yourself before him. You did not give off the arrogance of being a godling, and you get to him and you said you wanted to rise above that. You wanted to become your man of yourself, your own man, not be known because of who you were the progeny of. And I think it made him feel good. It made him feel like you're somebody who's worthy. And you didn't tell him what you wanted. You let him give you a simple, as far as he was concerned, for you and me, would have been a very difficult task to figure out what to do. But for him, it was a simple task of basic knowledge. And when you were confronted with all the choices of it, you didn't cringe away. You didn't say, this is beyond me. You said, these are the reasons why I chose this. This is the reasons I put. And that's what he wanted to see. He wanted to see you try. And he wanted to see you willingly try, even though you didn't know for sure what was right. If you knew what was right, it wouldn't be any test. A test is only to determine a person's knowledge, not to pat him on the back. If you don't know something, then you have room to learn. And you expressed a willingness to learn. It made your grandfather happy. I don't know how much he is into happiness, but I think you made him very happy today.
Have you ever been to Zakir?
Excuse me?
The country is Zakir, the holy symbol you're currently wearing.
Oh,
that's where
I've been to a number of countries. I just pick up holy symbols and I use them for when I'm someplace because people accept you a lot better that way than if you're a complete stranger to them. It's part of getting along and getting to know people better.
So while you're not committed, you are still respectful of other gods. However, have you ever been to the country of Zakir?
I don't believe I have.
That would explain it. In Zakir, and he glances at your NPC companion.
Actually, I'm not even wearing one right now. I put them all back in my pocket. I didn't put one on.
All right. Out of character, I forgot her name. What's the name of
Monica.
the Genasi?
Monica.
Monica, thank you. I'll learn her name. She's obviously important to the character. Monica would be in a different situation should she be insecure. Insecure, our law restrict women to the point where they are sometimes cattle are treated better or valued more than women insecure. It's very much a servitude standpoint, and it is very alarming for me to be in a land where that is not the case, where they are put in positions of power. But what I do not understand is not necessarily the ignorance of foreigners, but why my own grandfather would accept an apprentice that is a woman. There's such a thing as giving out gifts, but of all people, why? Why a woman?
Maybe he's a bigger person than you think he is. Maybe he's more traveled and has learned it more. People grow beyond their roots and their origins.
You mean to say that? You mean to say that by accepting something that is useless, he has made an attempt to prove his abilities as a teacher?
He has obviously traveled and done well enough that he knows that women are not just chattel. And as such, he accepts that, even though he grew up in Zakir. And Zakir was his roots. People change from their roots if they have intelligence and if they travel enough.
He, to my knowledge, did not grow up in Zakir. But he had his daughter marry my father. It is a unique situation to see a daughter of a dragon accept that type of commitment. Imagine a lord accepting marriage into a king's household. It is both an honor and a increasing status while also committing to be around those who are higher than you. It is complicated.
It is also a burden upon the person who accepts it.
Sometimes better options are not available.
Sometimes.
Gods are strange to me like that. They cannot sleep with their own children or the children of other gods, or will not, would be a better term. Nor do they sleep with each other. Our family is incredibly taboo. To put it in perspective, it would be like you going to a barn and taking a animal to wife. It is simply a necessity, not a... But with her, it was more like a prized stallion, the best of animals. But something that could maybe be more like Tabaxi? I'm not sure. It's just so murky. I never knew much about her, and I have wandered too far in this conversation. Monica.
Yes? Like she's just been writing stuff down and just been thinking about how to gather information.
I have a question after this.
All right, go ahead. We'll try and wrap it up. Monica, what was your most important observation of us there? what did you learn and take away from it from your viewpoint?
My most important observation. Let's see. Okay. I actually have to give an actual serious response rather than an airheaded one. Because this one, she would actually... Alright. So, a serious response. Okay. I just need to remember all the limitations. She would not know about social stuff, so she would not pick up on that. So, from our observations, let's see. From my observations, well, it did seem like, well, I mean, your relationship seemed like father and son, even though it's grandfather and grandson. It seemed like he was, well, as patient to you as my mother was to me. Always looking to guide you when you stray from a path. Always looking to guide you when you stray from the right path. Always looking to... Let's see. How did I put it? How would she put it? I still need to
always
keep in mind
looking
what she
to
can.
kill you.
Always looking to... How would she put it? I guess build you up. Always looking to try to build you up, rather than be harsh for the sake of harshness' sake. And from the looks of it, he does seem very, very smart and knowledgeable. Just from how he composed himself, just from how he seemed to know what everything did, just from a glance. It's the sure sign of a master. Let's see.
What scared me the most about him is, from what I've read and understood, the closer you are to perfection, the farther away you know you are from it. And neither he nor Zygen seem to understand how far away they are from perfection, which makes me wonder, have they achieved it? Or have they fallen short? But father, I did not consider that. He looks uncomfortable, like she said something that shook him. And we'll leave it at that, DM.
Alright.
Can I ask my question now?
Yep, go ahead.
Because I didn't think of this until now. In a more broad sense, is Zakir's and by extension Zygen's, I guess, sexism and views on women, is that a known thing worldwide? Like, is that something that you just know even if you're not from there?
Yes, that should be a known thing worldwide.
Okay.
His disdain for Matilda.
So if he had said that in front of Seeker, that wouldn't surprise him, is what you're saying.
Yeah, you definitely would know. He's quite infamous for his sexism.
Okay.
Like it hurts me to be sexist, but I love Stefan, how he has a female NPC who is, unique, but has areas where she is strong and capable in her own right. And I love how you're challenging Pyre's viewpoints. Freaking asked her for an opinion. Anyways, I am going to disappear for a little bit, but I'll come back if you guys are still on. I just want to take care of some business.
Well, thank you for running again, and
It was nice to see you.
I'm
all.
sorry some of you guys didn't get to do much.
I don't mind.
But
Look,
I can listen to
all
both
of you will
roleplay
have
all
your
day.
turns. All of you will have your turns. You'll
It's
all
kind
be
of-
taken on a wild ride.
yeah,
I'll tell you
Zorg,
why I thought.
Zorg, I cannot wait until it's your turn. I am looking forward to that stupidity just served on a platter. You do it wonderfully.
Well, as a player knowledge, but not character knowledge, when she speaks of her mother, she speaks of her stepmother, who is an archmage.
Yep.
And the head of a city. And that's who is also my patron. I've been given this task. But she's kind of growing on me.
I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt one more time. What about voicing characters' inner thoughts? In a character versus NPC perspective, I was trying to do it because it felt like they would be able to figure out what I was thinking, give the DM more hints. But in a player-to-player and a player-to-normal NPC, I have been attempting to reduce my reliance on that. Does anyone have any preferences, one way or the other? Showing versus telling?
I think things will come out as they come out. It's nothing, some people reveal things right away, some do not. And I think as we go along an adventure, things will come out about all of us.
Yeah, and I don't, and
I agree.
Like the half and half process, like there are merits.
Like
to
we'll find out that
speaking.
Zorg's parents were, archmages.
I fucking hope we find out that they're archmages.
By the way, I was planning on telling everybody. I'm planning on actually making a background finally for my character.
Well, you have
Do it. No, I have not. I have not yet. I have not made anything yet.
I
My
was
character is
going to
base.
talk to you about that because I still don't. You're the only person that I haven't given the NPC connection buff to because I cannot get a read on Zorg's personality. Even with your interact.
Maybe
with your
Zorg
interaction
doesn't
with
have
Johnny.
one. That's his strongest accent.
Oh no.
Yeah,
He has no personality, and that's his strongest asset because you can't read him. I'd make it so creatures can't read his. Creatures can't read your. When you don't want them to, creatures can't read your alignment.
But yeah, that'll certainly help. Though I guess the most important thing would be to just
That
kind
wouldn't help at all. Don't lie.
Wait, what?
No, that would be massive for some of us. No, yeah, you're right. It wouldn't help.
I was referring to the background, but I guess I said that right after you said something, so... So a background would help. A background would help. You don't need to make it too detailed. You can make it like cliff notes like most other people. The most important part would be figuring out that personality. Figuring out, like, your...
Just get some bare bones on it, and he'll work with you and help you put it together to make it cohesive to fitting in the world.
My longest backstory is 3 pages. I think I gave Jorah just 1 page of bullet points, but it was pretty detailed bullet points, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think I gave him 4 NPCs. More than that. Wait, hold on.
Yes.
Wait, now I have
At
to go
least
count.
4. Edward Weiss, Odd Love, what was it? Something
Odd
Dream,
Love.
Lazy Dream, and
Lazy,
Ezra Fenris.
Lazy Garden is his
Lazy
mom's
Garden.
name.
Lazy Garden,
And then
Odd
Weiss,
Love,
and then...
Edward Weiss, and Ezra Fenris, or
Yep.
something like that. I proved to you that I've actually read it, and I know.
Yeah, Fentis,
Oh wow, damn.
but it's okay. You had me thinking I also named him Fenris for a second there, so... Ezra being the other guy he traveled with. You made me forget who the fuck that was. Just by mentioning his name. I would have known any other time, but as soon as you mentioned his name, I'm like, who are you talking about? Look, I'm not all together here. All right.
Got a character named Fenris in another game.
It's a pretty popular D&D character name, I feel like.
It is. It's a what is it? There's a legendary Fenris, I think, in D&D somewhere.